Every once in a while, in this so-called community of YouTube narcissism videos, you find you get involved. You perhaps every day you get in the habit of watching these videos and interacting with some of the same names that you see in comments every day, or people who post videos every day, and you start to feel like you know them. They become characters in your life, even if you don't know their actual name or know where they live or anything like that, or hardly anything about them except what they post in comments or videos. And you start to get involved with that, and then you start to notice personal interactions and personalities, and you start to form opinions of some people you like better than others, some people you find you don't like at all. Some people like to get into fights, it's drama. People getting into fights and arguments and forming, becoming enemies and forming alliances and all this stuff. And when you find yourself getting involved in that degree, it's worthwhile to be able to take a step back, take a moment, and turn off the computer, take a step back, and take a little bit of a detached view of the thing, and think to yourself about the fact that these are strangers. Even though you come to feel familiar with them, these are people you don't know. And there's a question of how much of your energy are you willing to give over to these total strangers, these anonymous people from anywhere in the world. Most of them you don't even know what their face looks like, let alone know their first name, or where they live, or anything about them. And yet they're expressing certain opinions in writing, and it's getting you upset, and it's getting you worked up. And I say you, of course I'm talking about myself as well. I'm just saying what can happen to any of us. Will we get a little bit too wrapped up in it? Every once in a while, if we find ourselves getting a little too wrapped up in the drama and the negative energies, the drains on our own energy, we have to learn to kind of stop, kind of take a step back and ask ourselves, how worth it is it? Is it worth devoting this much energy to people who are really, when you come to think of it, when you take a look at it, they're really total strangers. Random people from across the planet out of 8 billion people who happen to have tuned into a particular video that you tuned into and then leaving comments, and you end up interacting, and it's not always positive interactions, and then you end up arguing and defending yourself. And every once in a while, stop and ask yourself if it's worth the investment of that amount of emotional energy that it is costing you. That's all. I'm not preaching here. I'm just reminding myself and suggesting for everyone else that it might be useful for each of us to remind ourselves of the fact that we're interacting with strangers. It's one thing when you're talking about your own family, people you can't avoid, people in your physical community where you walk down the street and you encounter these people and they're in your path, and you can't just blink your eyes and they're gone. But on YouTube you can. You can blink your eyes, you can turn it off, you can switch off that video, and those people can be gone. So we need to just sort of, for the purposes our own preservation, of our own sanity, our own emotional balance, to every once in a while say, listen, can I put this on pause? Can I take a step back? Can I go into the other room or go out for a walk and put this aside and not be allowing all my energy to be drained by people who are really worldwide random strangers? Some people you're interacting with, you have no clue even what country they're from, let alone anything else about them, and we're getting all wrapped up into arguments about things that are often totally irrelevant anyhow. Every once in a while we need to say, hey, listen, you know what? Is this a valuable investment of my energy? In getting involved in negative interactions, negative emotional interactions with people who are totally anonymous to me, totally random and anonymous strangers. That's all. We need to, every once in a while, take a deep breath and say, you know what, I'm getting worked up about arguing, most of which is nonsense anyhow. The arguments are mostly nonsense. So I'm getting wrapped up in nonsense arguments with total strangers who I have no idea who or what or where they are. It's craziness. It's like in a dream, you encounter certain entities that when you wake up, you say, well, who was that person? No clue. No clue who that entity that I was interacting with in that dream was, but there they are. And this is kind of dreamlike. This virtual world is kind of dreamlike. And we become ghost-like entities to each other. So, that's it. That's what I wanted to say. Is it worth it,